All right, this is a quick video, some of the material we covered in our sales meeting, but I wanted to make sure everybody really understood the consequences of the tax changes last year and how that has evolved into a very increased cost of home ownership in Illinois. So for, since the early 1900s, we've had unlimited deductions when it's come to state taxes and our property taxes. That changed last year, where we have a maximum that we can deduct is $10,000. So that's been a big change that has affected the cost of home ownership. And the reason that's so important is that when a buyer decides what they can afford, it doesn't have anything to do with just what they want to spend. It has to do with what they can afford each month, what they can afford in property taxes, in their principal and interest on their loan, etc. And so this one change has affected the value of homes significantly. Lots of your sellers are asking, why am I selling my home for the same price today that I did where I bought it last year or 4 years ago, etc. And I'm going to give you a quick tutorial to show you one of the reasons why. So let's say there's a property that's $500,000, okay? We're going to show you the difference between the cost of owning that house just last year and the cost of owning that house this year, okay? The taxes on a $500,000 house, we'll say the $500,000 is the sales price. The taxes are usually about $10,000, okay? And the income for somebody spending $500,000 on a home, combined or single income, let's just call it $150,000. Okay. When somebody is making $150,000, they're paying 5% to the state for taxes. That equates to $7,500 of state tax. State tax. All right? So let's look at 2018. In 2018, you could deduct unlimited property taxes and unlimited state taxes. You had a deduction of $17,500 deduction, okay? This year, the difference is we're maxed out. The max you can deduct is $10,000. So there's a big difference in deductions, right? Obviously, the difference in deduction is $7,500, okay? Let's say this buyer pays 30% in federal income tax. Not a bad assumption at $150,000 income. So we'll multiply it by 30%, and that equals $2,250, okay? So the cost of owning this home has increased by $2,250 versus last year. Let's take that monthly. That's $187.50 a month that it's gone up. Okay, so this buyer is willing to spend $187.50 a month more to own this home. Well, what's the value of that? Well, interest rates were 4.25% last year. They're 4.25% now. So $187.50 at a 4.25% interest rate comes out to a loan amount of $38,250. So in all reality, this buyer paying $500 today his cost is $38,250 more than it was last year, which is about 8% of the property's sales price. So if all things were equal, when we had the exact same deductions that we had for the last, decades, you would have somebody more than willing to pay $538,250 this year, an 8% depreciation over last year. So hopefully this clears it up. I think it's a big deal because I don't think a lot of sellers are understanding the impact of the tax laws that were changed last year on home values. Because the costs have increased due to the lack of deductions, cost of home ownership has gone up, price people can afford to pay has gone down. All right, one more property I want to go through. Now it's all the same math, but as you can see, when the price goes up, the consequences go up. So I want to talk about a sales price of a home that's $1.5 million. It has a property tax of $25,000, and we're making the assumption that the buyer or the buyers have combined income or individual income of $400,000. When you have an income of $400,000 in Illinois, you pay $20,000 in state income tax, 5%. So the big difference between 2018 and 2019, in 2018 you had a $45,000 deduction. That was the combination of your property tax and your state income tax. In 2019, the max you can deduct is $10,000 because of the tax law changes that were done by the government last year. So the big difference in deduction is obviously the change is $35,000. If you're paying 30% in federal taxes your cost, that lack of deduction, is $10,500 for the year. Okay? Effectively, it costs $10,500 more to own this exact same house this year as opposed to last year. Break that down further to $875 a month increase each month in the cost. And let's say that you're willing to put that towards a loan at 4.25%. The value you would be able to borrow is $178,500. Effectively 12% of $1.5 million sales price. So this buyer willing to buy this home, in all reality, is paying $178,500 more, or they're willing to pay $1,678,500. It cost them that much to own the home this year as opposed to last year. So I believe that if this buyer was willing to do this year at this same price, the same cost of home ownership, then if we hadn't had the tax changes, they'd be paying 12% more. Because that's really why we buy homes, or that's really how we buy them, is based on what we can afford and the cost of owning it. And for years, we've been talking about the deductions in home ownership, and that's one of the greatest reasons to own as opposed to rent. You're building up equity by paying down your loan for sure, but because of the unlimited deduction in state income tax and property taxes, that really helped and that really fueled home ownership, especially as it moved up on the chain. So you can pick out properties that have sold that have defied these laws of gravity, but 80–85% of properties fall within this wheelhouse. Yes, the economy is doing pretty well. Buyers are buying, but sellers might not be able to get their sales price they're looking for their home, not because their home's not worth it to the buyer, but because that's all the buyer can afford. And they're probably in that wheelhouse where buyers are looking at things. And let's be honest, did the market appreciate 12%? Well, the cost of owning this home increased 12%. I don't think the market increased 12%, but if someone's willing to buy it, they're paying 12% more. So I'm hoping this is the last negative video I have to show in 2019. I hope that you'll be able to use this and talk with your sellers so they understand how the cost of home ownership has increased dramatically. You don't have control over that, neither do the buyers, but the consequence is going to fall on the sales price of homes moving forward. So good luck, sell your homes. Make sure you have open and honest conversations with your sellers. Talk about modifying their price to get their home sold so that they can move forward, and sell as much real estate as you possibly can. Thank you.